Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Andrew Knoll, and I'm excited to talk about human nature with you this term. Now, in full disclosure, when I first got asked to teach this class, I kind of thought to myself, I'm not even entirely sure what human nature is supposed to be. But as I thought about it, I come to realize that there's this deep question that I think a lot of us have, which is namely, well, how do I fit in to this world that we seem to inhabit? And there's a couple of ways in which our existence seems very weird and unique and out of place in the world that we get taught about in school. So, for example, if you think about what we know about physics, we live in this world of solid objects like this apple that, we're told is made out of molecules that are just kind of bouncing around, hitting one another, and traveling through space. And yeah, it's true that you and I we have these bodies, like my hand, that seems to be made out of the same thing as this apple, but it seems like we've got these other faculties, this ability to reason, to think, to feel, to care, that it's difficult to see how those capacities fit into a world that's just a bunch of molecules bonking around through space. So there's one question we have is how do you and I as humans, how do we fit into the physical world? Now you might think, well, there are some things in this world that are kind of similar to us. There's these other animals, things like dogs and cats, but also chimpanzees and bonobos and gorillas. And it seems like at least some of those have kind of some of the same capacities that we have to think and feel, and yet we seem to be different in some way as well. And so you might wonder, well, okay, so humans, we seem to be a very unique sort of animal. What exactly makes us so unique? And then finally, we've got this question about how do we fit in with one another? What are the moral duties that we owe to one another? Why should I do things to help other humans that might harm me in the end? So I've constructed this class kind of thinking about how we fit in this broad sense and trying to make sense of these puzzles about how we fit into the physical world, the biological world, and our own interpersonal world. So those are the questions I'm going to use to frame this whole question of what is human nature. I'm transforming that question into the question of, well, how do we as humans fit in to this world that seems very different from what we think of as humans? Now, I've got an answer for you. It's an answer that might be pretty surprising to a lot of you because I'm a philosopher of mind and cognitive science. So, in my day job, I study how the mind works and how the brain works and how we're able to think and reason. And so I think a lot about how our capacity for thought and reasoning fits into the world. And here's the best theory I've got so far. You and I, we're computers. Might be a little weird. You might wonder, well, what does it mean to say that a human like me is a computer? So one of the main things I want to do in this class is to get a sense of what it means to say that a human is a computer. So I want to get a sense of just what exactly is a computer. How is it that you could get something like me made out of, some fat and protein? How do you turn that into a computer? But what we'll see is that once we've got that framework in mind, it's a way of helping to answer these further questions of how a creature with the capacities that you and I have can fit into the physical world. And we can examine, once we say that humans are computers, we can start asking, how are the computers that humans are, how do those different from the computers that you might think are running your dog or your cat? So we get this answer to the question of how we fit into the biological world. And then maybe maybe it gives us some insight into how it is that we think about what we are morally supposed to do and what obligations we have to one another. So that's my theory. I'm not going to require that you believe in my theory at the end of the term. In fact, what we'll want to do throughout the term is to see how that general answer that I give to the question, how that fits in with other ways of thinking about what humans are and how we work. And I want you to take a look at what the reasons are in favor or against a lot of these different theories about what we are, how we fit into the world, and what makes us tick. So I'm excited to talk about it, and we're going to kick off our first lesson just thinking a little bit more about, well, what separates out the stuff that we call humans from other things in the universe. Spoiler, there's probably not a great way of doing that, but it will help us set the stage by saying, well, look, we've got a general idea. You're a human. I'm a human. Our friends are humans. All right, let's go on from there. What is it that makes folks like us tick? So that's what we're going to start taking a look at this first week, and I look forward to seeing you in discussions. See you soon. Bye.